Let me start with a question. Did you receive this message? On the 30th of July, 2026, Siemens Energy issued an Omnivise Service News sales circular out of Erlangen, FY26, issue 02. If you operate a Teleperm XP or SPPA 2000 plant, it may already be sitting somewhere in your inbox, or in your maintenance manager's inbox, or in a folder that nobody has opened yet. If you received it, you already know why we are here today. If you did not receive it, then the next 90 seconds are the most valuable part of your week, because this circular has a date in it, and that date is now less than 2 months away.
It is Teleperm XP SPPA 2000 below version R8. PC hardware Primergy P170 and older. SCO Unix version 5.0.4 and 5.0.5. Runtime limitation until mid of October 2026, and then in their own document, marked in color, the word urgent. Now, I want to be straight with you about the history here because it matters for how you should read this. We found this ourselves during a factory acceptance test for a client. We were reviewing the licensing state of the SCO open server hosts underneath the TXP platform, and we found a fixed expiry date built into the TCP/IP component of the license. We started warning operators about it. Siemens has now confirmed the same thing in writing to their own installed base. So the two of us agree on the problem. Where we differ is the answer, and that is what the rest of this webinar is about.
So, welcome, and thank you for making the time. My name is Peter Rupek. I spent the first part of my career as a Siemens engineer, and I have now spent more than 25 years working on industrial control and operational technology systems in 24 countries. In the next few minutes, I'm going to do 4 things. I will show you exactly what expires and what happens when it does. I will show you the failure on a real host so you can see it rather than take my word for it. I will show you how to verify it on your own systems in about 30 seconds, and then I will tell you precisely how we fix it, what it costs, and how quickly we can get to you. There is one date to hold on to throughout, October 21st, 2026. This is where it started for us. During a recent factory acceptance test, we were going through the licensing state of the SCO open server hosts that sit underneath the TXP and T2000 platforms, and we found that the license includes a TCP/IP networking component with a fixed expiry date written into it. What you're looking at now is a screenshot from a real client system. The 2026 expiry is circled, and I want you to notice what that system is doing. It is running. It is healthy. Every diagnostic you would normally trust is green. There is no alarm, no warning, no degraded indication anywhere, and the clock is ticking. So let us be precise about what this configuration actually means. The TCP/IP networking component of the SCO open server license expires on a fixed date. Siemens describes it as mid-October. On every system we have reviewed directly, that date falls on October 21st, 2026. And when the date passes, this is not an entry in a log file that somebody reviews on Monday morning. The kernel disables networking at the licensing layer. The operating system does exactly what it was licensed to do, and nothing more.
Now here is what makes this failure mode so uncomfortable. The system continues to run. Networking stops. Think about what that means inside a control room. The machine is up, the screen is up, but the HMI is dark. The historian is dark. Alarms are not forwarding. Remote access is gone. The control logic underneath keeps executing. It keeps holding the plant. It keeps doing its job perfectly, and your operators cannot see any of it. That is the outcome. The control logic keeps running, and the operators are flying blind. This is what your night shift walks into in the early hours of October 21st, if nothing has been done before then.
And you do not have to imagine it. We reproduced it in the lab.
with an SCO open server host with the clock moved past the expiry date. At the beginning, everything appears to be going normally. The host powers on, the kernel continues to load exactly as it does every other day of the year. Then, the licensing layer is checked, and the TCP/IP component has expired as of that moment. Watch what the system asks for. It requests that the date and time be reset, because from the point of view of the operating system, the only way forward is backwards. And from here you get one of two outcomes. Either the operating system refuses to bring up the network, or it collapses completely, as it does in this demonstration. The machine is alive. The network services have stopped, and nothing about that is recoverable with a reboot.
At this point, the reasonable reaction is skepticism. So let me deal with why this has not been visible to you until now. There are 4 reasons, and none of them involve anyone hiding anything. First, it was discovered during a client engagement. It is not a forecast or a theory. It is a fact about the licensing state on systems that are in operation today. Second, it is not routinely reviewed. SCO Unix licensing data is simply not surfaced by the standard network and system monitoring tools you already have in place. Nothing you own is watching for it. Third, for a long time it was not published, and the commercial answer on the table has been full system replacement, which makes a public discussion of a remote third-party resolution commercially inconvenient. That has now changed as of the 30th of July. And fourth, and this is the one I want you to act on, anyone can verify it. On the SCO host, the command brand shows you the license date in about 30 seconds. So you do not have to trust me, and you do not have to trust a circular. Go and look. I will send you an email with the exact instructions for checking your own systems, and you can have an answer before the end of the day.
Now, let us talk about what doing nothing costs, because the numbers are not small. The technical cost of an unplanned shutdown is enormous. When a control system loses its operator interface without warning, you are not talking about hours of recovery. You are talking about days, and in some cases weeks, before the plant is back in a fully controlled and fully documented state. Put your own plant into that picture. A gas turbine offline, a combined cycle block offline, a desalination train offline. For a day, for a week, possibly longer. Then add the electricity you are not producing. Add the water you are not producing. Add the contractual penalties for failing to deliver either of them. Against those numbers, correcting a licensing configuration in advance is not an expense. It is the cheapest line item in the entire conversation. There is a second cost, and it arrives after the shutdown, when the investigation starts. Operating a control system with a known, documented failure mode that has already been flagged is a defensibility problem, and it is a defensibility problem under several frameworks at once. Under NIS 2, the European Directive on the Cybersecurity of Essential Services, including energy, under IEC 62443, the International Standard for Industrial Automation and Control System Security, and under sector-specific regulation for energy, water, and transport operators in most jurisdictions. The question your regulator will ask is very simple. Did you know, and what did you do about it? And this is exactly why the circular matters so much. Before the 30th of July, you might have argued that nobody could reasonably have known. After the 30th of July, the vendor has written it down and sent it to you. That argument is gone. So that is the problem. Now let me tell you the part that I think you actually came for. We have a solution, and it is not a system replacement. There are 2 ways we resolve this, depending on what you want from the asset afterwards. The first is the direct route. We correct the licensing state on the SCO host remotely, with the system in production throughout. The ICS application layer is untouched. There is no site visit, and there is no outage. If your objective is simply to get past October 21st safely, this is the answer. The second is life extension, and this is where we do more than buy you time. Our ICS OT Life Extension Service replaces aging HMI, control system, and network assets with custom-built or virtual replacements. They plug straight in, they match your exact configuration, and they come with a 7-year on-site warranty. That means the P170 hardware that Siemens has now declared obsolete does not have to become a capital project. It becomes a like-for-like replacement or a virtual machine that behaves exactly as your engineers already expect it to. We have been doing this for more than 2 decades in 24 countries without relying on the OEM. You can see the whole service on our website at bmglobal.as.
In practice, the engagement has 3 parts. First, the remote diagnostic. We connect to the affected SCO host remotely, review the licensing state in detail, and confirm the configuration. You receive a written report identifying how many assets are affected and exactly what needs to change. Second, the remote fix. We perform the licensing work remotely. The ICS application layer is preserved. The system stays online throughout. No site visit and no outage. Third, and this is the difference that matters to your budget, no capital project. The OEM answer to obsolete hardware is replacement, which means a multi-year program with a multi-million euro budget. Our answer is a remote engagement measured in days, with life extension available afterwards if you want the hardware problem solved as well. Let me be very clear about what this is not. This is not a re-implementation. This is not a migration. This is targeted work on the licensing state of the SCO host, performed remotely, with the system in production throughout.
So how do you engage us? We are taking on SCO Unix engagements now. BM Global is committed to helping as many operators as possible resolve this before the October 2026 deadline. But I have to be honest with you about capacity. There is a finite number of engineers in the world who understand these systems at this level, and there is a fixed number of weeks between today and October. Since the circular went out, the volume of inquiries has increased considerably, so we are scheduling now, and we plan and sequence the work from confirmed purchase orders and received upfront payments. First come, first served. That is not a sales tactic, it is arithmetic.
The process itself has 2 steps. Step 1. We confirm your engagement by receiving your purchase order for the remote diagnostic, and once the upfront payment is received, we sequence the work. The remote diagnostic is €15,000, 100% upfront, non-refundable. Step 2. Based on the diagnostic report, you send us a purchase order for the fix, and again, once the upfront payment is received, we sequence the work. The remote fix is €15,000 per affected computer, 100% upfront, non-refundable. The earlier the purchase order arrives, the earlier we can plan to help you. And I want to explain why we work this way, because I know how it sounds. The purchase order is not a gatekeeper. It is the scheduling mechanism. It tells us who is committed so that we can plan the work properly for everyone we help.
And if we cannot get to you before October, I want to say this directly. BM Global will still be here to help you afterwards. Companies that engage us after the 1st of October enter the recovery pipeline. The same work, the same expertise, the same outcomes. What changes is the cost of waiting. Before October, that cost is a forecast. After October, it is whatever the unplanned shutdown actually cost your plant. We will still be able to help you. What we cannot promise at that point is immediate action. So you are not abandoned. The recovery pipeline is a real, ongoing engagement. The only thing that really changes is whether you do this in a planned way or in a crisis. We are here for both. I would simply rather it was the first one.
So let me bring it back to where we started. Did you receive that message? If you did, you already have the vendor's own confirmation in writing. If you did not, you now know to go and look for it. The date is October 21st, 2026. The check takes 30 seconds on your own host using the command brand. The fix is remote, and your system stays in production. And if the hardware underneath is at end of life, our life extension service replaces it like for like with a 7-year on-site warranty. My details are on the screen. Petar Rupek, founder of Bohemia Market, managing director of BM Global. You can reach me directly at rupek@bmglobal.as or on +420 565 533 729. And the services are all described at bmglobal.as. Thank you for your time. I will now take questions.
Recovery takes weeks. Prevention takes hours. Book your diagnostic today.